Hi, again, we are going to continue for these factors of international banking growth. So previously we have stopped at market needs. Okay, the market needs for this one, right? So these market needs are ones of the factors that contribute to the international banking growth. Okay. So as previously we have mentioned about SWOT analysis, market segmentations, okay, and for market needs also employees should be encouraged to continually inform, educate, and provide solutions to the customers. Okay, so yes, in every corporate sector or businesses, educating consumers is kind of critical and will contribute to trust building between the corporations and the consumers. So in the case of international banking, this will be between the banks and the consumers. Okay. Next factor is I would like to explain about risk reduction. Okay, the risk reduction. So in any corporations, whether financial or not, that doing businesses abroad are always at a risk of facing any unexpected changes in the economic, social, or political environment in the country, which country that they are operating in. So whenever they're moving abroad, of course they will likely will expose to this kind of risk, because each and every country unique and having of course problems which are actually unique to that particular countries only, right? So whenever we move our businesses or corporations or these banks abroad, of course we will expose to this kind of risk. Okay, so this risk could actually cause problem to their services. So different compliance and regulatory requirements from country to country, labor unrest, political instability, and fluctuations in the currency are just a few of the country risks that will be faced by these banks. Okay, so of course apabila they are moving their businesses abroad, setiap country will actually have different regulations, different rules. Okay, different level education level. Okay, and some more the political instability. So this will actually become a kind of risk to the bank. So of course, however, they will reach a kind of greater stability of earnings, okay, with this international diversification. So walaupun begitu, masih lagi bank-bank ini cuba mengembangkan bisnes diorang di luar negara untuk mereka diversifykan dia punya profit, okay, dan dia punya businesses, alright. So one more thing adalah about risk reduction is offsetting business and monetary policy cycles across nations will reduce the country-specific risk of any one nation. So, mereka perlu mengimbangi, kena offset business dan monetary policy cycles yang sedia ada. So, of course, this bank kena sesuaikan dia punya rules dan regulation dengan rules dan regulation yang ada di negara tersebut. Okay, especially if it's involving halal services dan sebagainya. Okay, between the conventional and the Islamic services, of course they have to offset their activities. So if the country is more towards Islamic country, of course they have to find another way to make their products more Sharia compliance and so on. Okay, so to be specific, the risk can be categorized into 6 components. So these are kind of risks that are available to these banks. Okay, the first risk. Yes, the first risk is the strategic risk. Okay, so this strategic risk is a risk that the business might fail or the banks might fail because of their own management and their own strategic application. So, apabila mereka move dia punya banking services abroad, of course, they just not moving their businesses over there. They must have a strategic management planning. Okay, so what will happen if the products didn't make a successful, of course, a successful one at the particular country. So, kalau produk yang mereka lancarkan tidak berjaya di pasaran asing, so ini yang mereka perlukan kind of a good strategic management. So that's why sometimes you can check a few banks that moving abroad. Pada mulanya mereka agak bagus, dapat menyaingi local banks, tetapi lama kelamaan mereka mula menutup cawangan mereka satu per satu. They cannot survive. Okay, so this is the strategic planning that they have to put forward before moving their businesses abroad. Okay, strategic risk is quite important. Okay, second, legal risk. So, legal risk is a kind of berdepan dengan risiko potential loss or a result of legal issue or a kind of lawsuit. Okay, legal issue such as lawsuit mungkin berdepan dengan risiko disaman dan sebagainya. Okay, so this is the kind of legal suit or lawsuit ini bukan sahaja boleh menyebabkan reputasi bank tersebut jatuh, but then of course it makes hard for them to survive for another financial year. Okay, so ini adalah quite important juga. Okay, the risk of legal risk. That's why normally banks will take a look, a closer look to their products and services before it's being launched, to discuss the products with their hired lawyers and also the authorities, the local authorities over there before they start publishing their products. Okay, the third one is about operational risk. Okay, operational risk is the risk that resulting from any inadequate failed internal process from within, such as staff, control system, management system, right? So whatever the risk that may cause their banks fail to operate as good as they want to, so this is a kind of operational risk. So they must have a kind of good teamwork from within. Of course, they must have reliable, not just educated human capital, but they must have a kind of reliable integrities staff, all right, to work with the banks itself over there. Okay, so this is kind of internal operational risk that they might face lah in the future if they moving their banks abroad. Okay, country risk. All right, so number 4 is country risk. A risk that foreign government will default on its bonds or any other financial commitment. So this is more critical, especially when businesses or banks are investing in the less developed countries or less developed nation. So country risk adalah di mana satu-satu kerajaan atau government gagal membayar balik bonds yang mereka issue ataupun any other debts or financial instrument yang mereka issue dan mereka perlu make nak payment back tetapi gagal dibayar. Maka of course bank dekat sana juga akan suffer if of course apabila mereka juga terlibat dalam instruments yang dikeluarkan. Okay, so ini adalah country risk. So sangat critical, especially kalau di negara-negara yang kurang membangun. So mereka berdepan dengan risiko country risk. Number 5, reputational risk. Okay, so this reputational risk adalah of course a threat to the good names of the bank itself, or whether the good names of the such business or particular corporations. So for example, kalau nama baik bank itu tercemar, mungkin disebabkan dikaitkan, katakanlah contoh ada satu report mengatakan bank ini dikaitkan dengan penajaan aktiviti penajaan senjata kepada kumpulan-kumpulan resistant atau kumpulan pemberontak dan sebagainya. Ini pernah happens in Europe. So bank itu maknanya dicemarkan dengan reputasi yang agak buruk. Okay, so ini akan menyebabkan bank itu menghadapi masalah of course dari segi trustworthy consumers terhadap bank tersebut. Okay, next adalah credit risk. Credit risk adalah risk of loss whenever the borrower fail to repay. Maknanya para peminjam gagal membayar semua balik pinjaman yang ada, kan? So ini pernah berlaku di US. We will learn this one in chapter 6. Okay, the credit risk that being faced by US and a few particular countries. Okay, so apabila borrower gagal membayar balik pinjaman, itu yang dihadapi oleh bank tersebutlah, kita panggil dia sebagai credit risk. Market risk pula adalah possibility investors is experiencing losses due to factors that affect overall performance. Okay, market risk secara mengambil faktor secara keseluruhan, iaitu sebarang faktor yang berkait dengan keadaan pasaran, keadaan ekonomi, politik yang tidak stabil dan sebagainya, dan menyumbang kepada para pelabur menghadapi kerugian. So itu kita panggil market risk. Okay, so like what we are facing right now, seperti COVID-19 effect, so sangat menyumbang kepada market risk yang agak tinggi. Okay, so other than that adalah satu lagi adalah liquidity risk. Okay, liquidity risk. Okay, liquidity risk for this part, okay, sorry, liquidity risk, right, adalah happen when business and investors fail to pay any of their short-term payments or short-term obligations. So apabila businesses dan investor gagal membayar whatever short-term payments or obligations, ini yang kita panggil sebagai liquidity risk. Agak bahaya untuk satu-satu business ataupun termasuklah banking businesses apabila liquidity risk berlaku. Meaning to say people don't have such liquid assets anymore to make payments on their short terms obligation. So agak bahayalah if liquidity risk happens. Okay, so that is all about market needs and also risk reduction. Next, economic development, I will let you know in another video. Thank you.